परमात्मा च मुक्तानां परमागतिः अव्ययः पुरुषः साक्षी शेषज्ञोऽक्षर एव च योगो योगविदां नेता प्रधानः पुरुषेश्वरः नारसिंहः पुष्यमान् केशवः पुरुषोत्तमः शिवस्थान भूतादिर्निरव्ययः संभवो भावनो भर्ता धातुरुत्तमः.
That's all.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. You sing so
This is
nice.
the Vishnu Sahasranam.
Oh, acha. I didn't know that. Thank you.
I'm learning now.
Oh my God. Who is teaching you?
My mother.
Oh, I think I want to have your mother. Yeah. I can bring your mother here.
No, Lily. Shall I go?
Well,
Okay, thank you so much. Everyone can say thank you to Akanksha.
Thank you. Thank you,
Hare
Kar.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Akansha.
Krishna Mataji.
thank you, Akanksha.
Thank you, Akanksha.
God bless you.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you. My God, you have a leader in your house. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So we'll start. Can I start? Akanksha, can I start?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinbandhu Jagatpate Kopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namastute Saptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishbhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Visadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Anya Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
You finished your class?
Yes, Mataji.
So we all can say behind me, please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have to start from 20th verse, right? So what is happening is that I gave 5th chapter advanced level class at 6 a.m. and I have another one at 8 o'clock, the same chapter. So when I was making this slide, I was thinking about all of you. So this is a very nice way to summarize the chapter. So for the sake of understanding, we can divide this chapter into 6 parts. Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda. It's not moving. Section 1 is like first 6 verses, which actually defines what is Nishkam Karma Yoga and actually answers Arjuna's question to Krishna that what is better, Karma Sannyas or Karma Yoga. And also it builds on that what is it that makes Arjuna confused? What got Arjuna into thinking it what is better once again? Because we thought that this question was already answered in chapter 3. Then section 2 is after we understand what is Nishkam Karma Yoga, how to perform Nishkam Karma Yoga from 7th to 12th verse. You can take a screenshot of this screen. And then section 3 is 13 to 16, the way we discuss the platform of knowledge, knowing the 3 doers. The 3 like Jiva, Prakriti and Ishvara, the 3 doers, right? It is described in these verses. Then 17 to 26 verse starts the discussion about liberation. So liberation by focus on the super soul. And then 27 to 28 through the Ashtanga Yoga, which sets the platform for the next chapter, which we are in this section right now, liberation and focus on the super soul. And then the final verse is peace on the platform of liberation. I really plead all of you to join this class, the advanced class, because It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile joining. So what is happening to my computer? I am sorry. 1 second. So in the meantime that I'm figuring out my life here, can someone tell me what made Arjuna confused? Yes, people who have not answered before. What is it that made Arjuna confused? If you have not, be honest to yourself, because I don't remember who answered and who didn't answer. If you have not answered this question ever before, because I've been asking this question practically in every chapter, every class that we are having, then only raise your hand. If you have answered it, then please don't raise your hand. Where are you guys? Oh, Krishna, what happened? Oh, you are here. Sorry, I thought I got disconnected. Yes, Umakhanan Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, in chapter 2, 2.7, Krishna says Arjuna.
2.7.
Yes,
Okay.
when
Okay.
why Arjuna is confused, and he's asking what is best for me. So Arjuna asks what is best for me, and then Krishna says, I am not the body but the spirit's soul. So Krishna tells about the knowledge of the soul, and it's its entanglement in the material body. Then from
Okay,
2.31 to 2.37, Krishna says, do your duty as a Kshatriya, else you will incur sin. So you get up and fight. Then from 2.42 to 2.45, Krishna says, the men who with less knowledge get attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which talk about fruitive activities and sense and desires for sense gratification. Then in 2.47, Krishna says, perform your prescribed duty and don't claim the fruits of the activities. So, and don't be attached to not doing your duty. Then in 2.49, Krishna says, keep away from bad activities and engage in devotional services. And then you will be disentangled. Then in 3.2, again, Arjuna is bewildered. So he Arjuna asks Krishna, what is better for me? So in 3.17 and 3.18, Krishna says, work without attachment to reach to me. And a self-realized person need not do his duties. And then in 4.33, Krishna says, sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the sacrifice of material possessions. So all sacrifice of work reach to transcendental knowledge. So again, then in 5.1, Arjuna says...
no, in 4.42, Krishna tells Arjuna, stand up and fight. 5.1, Arjuna speaks. Krishna is not.
Yeah, and 5.1, sorry, Mataji. Arjuna says, I mean, whether work with, you say that you ask me, I mean, Arjuna says you ask me to renounce work, and you say work with devotion, which one is beneficial out of the two? So finally, Krishna says devotional service is better than dry mental speculation, as it is transcendental.
Thank you very much. Almost right. Thank you very much, Mataji. Subroto, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Actually, if we see the following chapters, Lord Krishna has praised both renunciation of works, that is karma sannyas, and work with devotions. So Arjuna's confusion is basically that apparently that equivocal instructions. In the first chapter, if we see, Arjuna gave various reasons for not fighting the battle. So he said that he doesn't want to fight because of compassion. Then Lord Krishna revealed that science of the self and explained that since soul is immortal, nobody would die in this war. So therefore, he should not lament for that purpose. Then Arjuna said that he will incur sin. Then Arjuna, Lord Krishna then gave the knowledge of the Buddhi Yoga, that is devotional service, and said that there is no sin involved in execution of devotional service. In the third chapter, Lord Krishna explained that it is necessary to perform one's prescribed duty because it helps to purify the mind. But in verse 3.17 and 3.18, he said that person who is in the knowledge of the self has nothing to do. So again, coming to the fourth chapter, Lord explained various kinds of sacrifices, and in verse 4.33, he concluded that all sacrifices culminate in knowledge of one's relationship with God. So again, in verse 4.41, Lord again introduced some principle of karma sannyas, saying that one who has renounced the fruits of his actions, whose doubts are destroyed by transcendental knowledge, and who is firmly situated in the self, is not bound by work. So after saying that, in verse 4.42, he said that now you get up and fight. So Arjun's confusion whether he should renounce and situate in the knowledge, or he should fight. That is the
Very
confusion.
Very nice. Thank you. Prabhu, what is that verse you quoted? 4 point what? Where Krishna
4.41.
4.41. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you. I'm relieved a little bit at least. Ramashashu Mataji and Archana Mataji, you can keep your hands raised. I'll ask in the end to both of you. So we are in the section where we are talking about liberation by focus on the super soul, which started with the verse 18, I think. That definition of a humble sage. The definition of a humble sage is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Cheva Sapa Kavecha Pandita Samadarshina, one who sees the soul and super soul and not the outside dress. And then that person is established in sameness and equanimity. So there is no duality. Equanimity means there is equilibrium. There is no duality. And then that particular person is not attached to the material objects, because material objects is the interaction of the modes of nature, and that happens between the senses and the sense objects. But that person is not on that platform. I'm not saying we are on that platform or I am on that platform, but that person who is Brahmabhuta is on that platform, where if something happens outside which looks which is a reason to be happy, or something is happening which is a reason to be unhappy, that person maintains the equanimity. That person is the one who knows the science of God and is situated in the transcendence. So verse 21, you can raise your hand if you want to read. Ramashashu Mataji, you want to read? You can raise your hands, everyone, if you want to read. All right, Sapna, you can unmute.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
बाह्य स्पर्शेष्व असक्तात्मा विन्दति आत्मनि यत् सुखं स ब्रह्म योग युक्तात्मा सुखम् अक्षयम् अश्नुते. Translation: such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure or external object, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure.
Oh, wait, 1 second. We have to start from 27th verse. Oh, Khushbu, thank you. Sorry, Sapna, I'll go there. Okay, so that means we have actually discussed till 26th verse, which is like liberation in the by focusing on the Supreme. That this particular person is not attached to the external objects in any shape or form. 1 second, Sapna, you'll read the next one. And the person, this one, oh yeah, I remember discussing this. Yeah, he's some sparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adi antavanta gandaya nateshu ramate buddha. That a person who is Buddha, who is wise, who is intelligent, is not going to take pleasure in some sparshaja bhoga. The pleasure, bhoga means enjoyment or pleasure. Pleasure arising from the touch of senses with the sense objects. Then it is going to give a sense of pleasure, and that person is not gonna, because this pleasure has beginning and an end. But a wise person takes pleasure on something which is unlimited. Unlimited. Krishna conscious happiness in Krishna consciousness is unlimited. It is not restricted and it is not dependent on anything. Okay, now Krishna says that how do we get there? How do we become that Buddha? We become by tolerating the urges of the material senses in this present body. And the question arises, till when we have to tolerate? We have to tolerate until we die, actually, basically. Okay, and if we tolerate, then we become happily situated in the city of the 9 gates. And I think we discussed about the city of the 9 gates earlier. And such a person's happiness is within. And then this person is not actually because this person or this particular pure devotee is happiness is inside and not outside, that person is actually doing the best welfare activity for all the people across the globe. Best welfare activity. And then those who are free from anger and material desires, all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, very important, right? Self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in a very near future. So we have to be very disciplined. Regulative principles of devotional service teaches us how to be disciplined. So we have to start from here, Khushbu. Where are you? You can unmute and say, we have to start from here?
Yes, Mataji, from 2017.
Okay, thank you. So
Thank
these
you.
are the two verses which actually give introduction to the Ashtanga Yoga practice, which is the whole 6th chapter. Sapna, please go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. Sparshan kritva bahirbahyamsh chakshushchaivanthade bhruvoh pranapanau samau kritva nasabhyantaracharinav yatendriya mano buddhir munir moksha parayanah vijatte cha vaya krodha yasada mukta eva saha. Translation: shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence. The transcendentalist becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated.
Okay, Papat.
Perfect. Being
Okay, I think she's having some connection problem or something. We can't hear you, Sapna.
Mataji, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one can immediately understand one's spiritual identity, and then one can understand the Supreme Lord.
Her voice, no, your voice is not coming. Okay, I'm gonna have Sumiti Mataji read. Okay, you check your audio settings and come back. Sumiti Mataji, please go ahead.
Qualified to feel the.
Sumiti Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Being engaged in Krishna consciousness.
Being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one can immediately understand one's spiritual identity, and then one can understand the Supreme Lord by means of devotional service. When he is well situated in devotional service, one comes to the transcendental position, qualified to feel the presence of the Lord in the sphere of one's activity. This particular position is called liberation in the Supreme. After explaining the above principles of liberation in the Supreme, the Lord gives instruction to Arjuna as to how one can come to that position by practice of mysticism or yoga known as Ashtanga Yoga, which is divisible into an eightfold procedure called Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. In the 6th chapter, the subject of yoga is explicitly detailed, and at the end of the 5th, it is only preliminarily explained. One has to drive out the sense objects such as sound, touch, form, taste, and smell by the pratyahara or breathing process in yoga, and then keep the vision of the eyes between the two eyebrows and concentrate on the tip of the nose with half-closed lids. There is no benefit in closing the eyes altogether because then there is every chance of falling asleep. Nor is there benefit in opening the eyes completely because then there is the hazard of being attracted by sense objects. The breathing movement is restrained within the nostrils by neutralizing the up and down moving air within the body. By practice of such yoga, one is able to gain control over the senses, refrain from outward sense objects, and thus prepare oneself for liberation in the Supreme. This yoga process helps one become free from all kinds of fear and anger, and thus feel the presence of the super soul in the transcendental situation. In other words, Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of executing yoga principles. This will be thoroughly explained in the next chapter. A Krishna conscious person, however, being always engaged in devotional service, does not risk losing his senses to some other engagement. This is a better way of controlling the senses than by the Ashtanga Yoga. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So see, even this is a Krishna consciousness is even better than Ashtanga Yoga, because there is chance of falling down from there also. This is just a preliminary introduction to Ashtanga Yoga practice, that one can attain liberation. If you don't want to do Nishkam Karma Yoga, then you can do Ashtanga Yoga. And Ashtanga Yoga has these 8 limbs. One has to do everything, not just one thing. Okay, everything has to be done. Which starts from Yam, which is external discipline, Niyam, internal discipline, Asana, where you sit, Pranayam, controlling the breathing, Pratyahar means controlling the eating, sleeping, recreation and all that, Dharana, one becomes situated in the self, Dhyan, then meditates by focusing on the tip of the nose, and Samadhi. Okay, so one has to do all these things. Like for example, if somebody enters the school, unless and until they pass the high school or higher secondary or 12th grade, we can't tell them that you have you have graduated from school. If somebody falls out before, we call them school dropout, right? Right or wrong?
Right, Mataji.
Yeah. If person has not finished the school, that person is called as
Yes,
Dhanyavad.
should
Thank
pass.
you. So we call that person as a school dropout because you started but you didn't finish. Like that, if somebody is only doing one part of Ashtanga Yoga, only one, most common people do either asana or pranayam, don't do anything else, then we call them Ashtanga Yoga dropout. Simple, because you're not going to reach Krishna with that, only doing half, Ardha Kukur Nyaya, only doing half of the thing. You know that story, right? There's a story that there was a person who had a egg, hen giving golden eggs. But the problem was that he had to give hen the grain to eat. So every day that person was getting golden eggs from the hen. So he could sell that egg and, become a millionaire. But one day he was asking, this golden egg is okay, but I don't like the fact that I have to feed and take care of this hen. So egg is coming from the back. Egg is coming from the back of the hen. So I will do one thing. I will chop off the head of the hen. So only the back is important. So he chopped off the head of the hen. Like that, people do say I'm doing yoga, but they only do like Ardha Kukur Nyaya, only half, or maybe 1/3 or 1/4. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You may get some relaxation, that too temporary, of the body or mind. It doesn't touch the soul. It does not. Okay, so all these yoga studios across the world have to become Krishna conscious centers, and 100% of them. And the best way to actually be established in samadhi is to work for Krishna, and that practice is easier way of controlling the senses than Ashtanga Yoga. It's very easy, right? When we are chanting Hare Krishna, what are we doing? We're actually regulating our senses. We are actually concentrating on the holy name and working between our tongue and ear. If really one is chanting. And then what happens when someone is working for Krishna? When somebody is speaking about Krishna, then how can they speak if they don't have a memory? So the object of speech is Krishna, and the memory is about Krishna. If somebody is hearing about Krishna in a very attentive manner, then the object of meditation is Krishna. We are hearing Krishna, and Krishna falls on the ears, and then that's Krishna. Or somebody is cooking for Krishna, then there is a lot of involvement. That's meditation, that cooking for Krishna. There was a devotee, Dhanvantari. Dhanvantari was a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So she used to cook for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but she was a very expert cook, very, very expert cook. If you have ever tasted an Ayurvedic meal in your life, you know what I'm talking about. So that particular devotee, she used to cook for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and but she used to also make curatives. That in case Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eats and then he has like indigestion, then this is a curative. You give this, you take this. So with the meal, she used to send that curatives also with her brother. I am forgetting the name of the brother who used to take it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, and she used to make all these sweet meats and all the main course meals and appetizers and then curatives. So it's written that was her meditation. You see, she was meditating, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will eat this, and if he develops indigestion, then he should take this. If he develops like whatever problem, stomach pain, or if he develops pain in heartburn, then take this. So it's a meditation. Like that, we have to be in that meditation. We have to be aware of the fact that where are we and what are we doing and who is the object. Okay. So she was a very nice devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Smita Mataji, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mataji, can you hear me?
Long time. I can hear you perfect, but I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, Mataji, what happens? The message sometimes comes late and then I'm not aware when the class timings are changed. Today, luckily, I'm in Pune and I read it. Otherwise, today also I would have missed
Shobha
it.
Malli Mataji is saying that devotee is Damayanti, sister of Raghavacharya. Okay, thank you, Mataji. So it's Damayanti, not Dhanvantri.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Smita.
Should I read? Yeah. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram surudam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam shanti mnuchati. The sages, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Purport. The conditioned soul within the clutches of illusory energy are all anxious to attain peace in the material world, but they do not know the formula for peace, which is explained in this part of the Bhagavad Gita. The greatest peace formula is simply this: Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. Men should offer everything to the transcendental service of the Lord, because he is the proprietor of all planets and the demigods thereon. No one is greater than he. He is greater than the greatest of the demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is described as Tama Ishwaram Paramma Maheshwaram. Under the spell of illusion, living entities are trying to be lords of all this survey, but actually they are dominated by the material energy of the Lord. The Lord is the master of material nature, and the conditioned soul are under the stagnant rules of material nature. Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world either, individually or collectively. This is the sense of Krishna consciousness. Lord Krishna is the supreme predominator, and all living entities, including the great demigods, are his subordinates. One can attain perfect peace only in complete Krishna consciousness. The fifth chapter is a practical explanation of Krishna consciousness, generally known as Karma Yoga. The question of mental speculation as to how Karma Yoga can give liberation is answered herewith. To work in Krishna consciousness is to work with the complete knowledge of the Lord as the predominator. Such work is not different from transcendental knowledge. Direct Krishna consciousness is Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga is a path leading to Bhakti Yoga. Krishna consciousness means to work in full knowledge of one's relationship with the Supreme Absolute, and the perfection of the consciousness is full knowledge of Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A pure soul is the eternal servant of God as his fragmented part and parcel. He comes into contact with Maya, illusion, due to the desire to lord it over Maya, and that is the cause of his many sufferings. As long as he is in contact with matter, he has to execute work in terms of material necessities. Krishna consciousness, however, brings one into spiritual life even while one is within the jurisdiction of matter, for it is an arousing of spiritual existence by practice in the material world. The more one is advanced, the more he is freed from the clutches of matter. The Lord is not partial towards anyone. Everything depends on one's practical performance of duties in an effort to control the senses and conquer the influence of desire and anger. and attaining Krishna consciousness by controlling the above mentioned passions, one remains factually in the transcendental stage or Brahman Nirvana. The eightfold yoga mysticism is automatically practiced in Krishna consciousness because the ultimate purpose is served. There is gradual process of elevation in the practice of yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara, dhyana, dharana, pranayama, and samadhi. But these only prefer perfection by devotional service, which alone can award peace to the human being. It is the highest perfection of life. Thus, end of the Bhakti Vedanta purpose to the 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Karma Yoga or action in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare Krishna. So we can write a paper on this and present it to the United Nations that you are trying to actually make so many peaceful formulas across the world by doing this and that and what not. But why don't you do this? Why don't you serve Krishna? Because Krishna himself is declaring that I am. So 3 things are discussed in this purport. That one is that who knows Krishna is the ultimate purpose of all. That means only enjoyer. Second, who knows Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Third, who knows Krishna as the well-wisher. So these are the 3 elements that we have to know and understand Krishna as to attain peace. We go to so many people, like they go, okay, when we talk about self-care, which is a very predominant discussion or topic of discussion in today's world, at least I hear it a lot. So people have a lot of agendas how to do the self-care. If for example, if I ask in this class, what do you do for self-care? Somebody may say that I take a walk, I eat healthy, I sleep nicely, or I go to a hill station or something, or I chant Hare Krishna. So there'll be something, but there's got to be one central agenda of a self-care, and that is to see oneself as part and parcel of Krishna. Because we don't see ourselves as part and parcel of Krishna, we see ourselves as part and parcel of something else other than Krishna. We are not peaceful. The reason we are not peaceful is we see ourselves as a part of the family, we see ourselves as a part of my body, we see ourselves as a part of the country I live in, see ourselves as a part of the job that I do, see ourselves as a part of the friend circle that I belong to, or the age group that I am in, young age, middle age, old age, all these age groups that are being divided. So I see myself so much divided. So where is peace? Let's not, this class, this Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita are for people who are thoroughly honest. Let's be thoroughly honest that we are not peaceful. Why? Because we are seeing ourselves divided into so many things. Bring it in the center. Just bring it in the center. That's it. And the center is focused on Krishna. I am a part of Krishna. Through that part, I am related to everyone else. Through that part, because Krishna, like in a family, if our parents have 2-3 children, then we say that these are my siblings. Don't we say that? If I ask somebody, do you have any brother or sister? How do you know you have a brother or sister? From the relationship of your relationship with your parents, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
Mataji.
So easy to understand. Yes. So that relationship is through the parent, because in my life the center point is my relation through these parents. Like that, change the center. Put Krishna in the center. Krishna, I am related to each one of you or anyone else in the entire creation through Krishna. Because Krishna made each one of us. So there is this relation and there is this connection. And if Krishna is in the center, like in a house, if you have to interact with your family members and you see a center point of common family, like that, we see Krishna expand that circle. In the center, then what do we do? What do we do about that relationship? Then we talk about Krishna with each other. We remind. Our presence in each other's life must remind us about Krishna. It's very easy to understand. In a family, if all the brothers and sisters and all the relatives get together, don't they remind each other about other family members all the time? Grandparents, parents, great-grandparents, or this. or that, or you were young, you did this, so many things like that. If we are associating with each other with Krishna in the center, then we must be able to remind each other about Krishna. And that way, the Krishna consciousness society, it's a society. Society keeps us bound. It keeps us together, glued with each other, and we remain glued to each other. That means we actually remain in association of Krishna also. It's very beautiful, actually. It's very nice. ISKCON, Prabhupada model of ISKCON is nice. Is like magnanimous. I have in my life not come across any model which is like this. That is why I took ISKCON as my where I wanted to be. So you have to see like where, or if any other sampradaya which is actually connecting us to Krishna, like 4 sampradayas I mentioned, right? Sri Lakshmi Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, and Kumar Sampradaya, and Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So all these sampradaya, what is the reason? Why all these great acharyas are actually spending their time and effort and doing this? What is the reason? So that we remain connected to each other. Somebody is very proud, like they feel there is a sense of proud, and that proud is okay to have, that I belong to this sampradaya. Okay, if somebody says I belong to this sampradaya, then you should be able to think and talk about Krishna. That's all. Somebody says I am belong to Rudra Sampradaya. Okay, then let's hear the commentary of Vishnu Swami about Krishna. Somebody says I belong to Kumar Sampradaya. Okay, then let's hear the commentary of Nimbarkacharya about Krishna. Somebody says I belong to Sri Lakshmi Sampradaya. Okay, then let's hear about Ramanujacharya Prabhupada's commentary on Krishna. Or somebody says if I belong to Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, then we are hearing Srila Prabhupada's commentary on Krishna. Okay, the purpose is one. Based on the intelligence of people, all these acharyas have done great mercy on us. Great mercy. Okay, we cannot repay the debt that they have done for us, all of them. So the ultimate purpose is Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. I am not the Lord. And Krishna is the well-wisher. Krishna is my best friend. Here Krishna is addressed as this, right? Krishna is addressed as Suhridam. Suhridam is the best friend, benefactor. No one else can be as best of a friend to me as Krishna, because Krishna never leaves me. I look for a friend all the time. Like people suffer from one disease across the world. What is that disease? Loneliness. People feel very lonely. Even if they're sitting in a family, they still feel lonely. It is a fact. There's so much of mental health disorders across the world. Why? Because the mind is making us believe that I'm lonely. There's nobody. But excuse me, look inside your heart. Paramatma is sitting there. Because I'm looking outside and because I'm looking at all these people across the world to fulfill that void in somebody's life, then we will not be satisfied. Because Krishna has said here, this is the only way you will achieve Shanti, relief from material pangs. And if I am in Shanti, I can give it to someone else. If I am not in it, then I cannot. It's crystal clear. There is no hidden agenda in Krishna consciousness. So conditioned soul is within the clutches. You know, in Gitanagari, one devotee, Aghari Krishna, he was giving a class. He said Prabhupada books are very visual. So Prabhupada says, like, he could have just said Maya, but he writes illusory, we are in the clutches of illusory energy, as if we are literally like in the clutches. He was talking. So yeah, Prabhupada really writes like that. It's very visual, that actually I'm like bounded, I'm clutched by this. I'm like in the clutches of illusory energy. And then I'm trying to get free out of it. So, but the greatest peace formula is simply this. Simply this. Lord Krishna is a beneficiary in all human activities, and offer everything to him, and no one is greater than him. Krishna says, Mam Ekam. Arjun says, Tvam Ekam. So, simple, right? Mam Ekam. Krishna says, Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Krishna says, Tvam Ekam. Very simple relationship, and they both agree. Then there is peace. There is peace. Otherwise, Krishna has to do so many elaborate plans to get us back. Then how do I get this person back? Because this person is thinking that this particular living entity can be happy with something else other than me. No, stop doing it. We have lost a lot of time. And this life, go to Krishna. this life, make it a motto, I am going to Krishna, because that's where I belong. That's where I belong, right? If I don't belong somewhere else, let's say, why are we not aiming to go to, let's say, I don't know, maybe why are you sitting in your house? Why are you not going to Burma, for example? Why are you not going to Hong Kong? Why are you sitting in your place right now? What's making you sit there? Yes. What's making you sit in your own house right now, or wherever you're seated? Why are you not going to Burma or Hong Kong or this place or that place? Yes. Why are you not going?
We belong only here.
We are in
Because of
similar
pandemic,
association
Mataji.
with Krishna,
Known
Mataji.
area is the comfort.
Because you belong, you see yourself belonging to that place. There's something which keeps us wherever we are, right? So, like that, why are we not going to Krishna? We must, because I belong there. I have a room there, I have a house there in Vaikunta, in Goloka Vrindavan. I have a body there, I have a relationship there. Whatever I have is there. Go there. Just go there and live in eternity with Krishna and don't come back to die. And how do we start? By chanting Hare Krishna. You see, there is no shortcut. Krishna gives this, but the chanting Hare Krishna is better, is best, actually, is the best. Maha Mantra. It's called Maha Mantra. There is no other mantra which is called as Maha Mantra. All other mantras are called as mantras. But Hare Krishna mantra is called as a Maha Mantra, means the mother of all the mantras. All the mantras are actually in Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We have been given a zest of all the Vedic literatures in one vibration, one sound vibration, which is coming from Krishna. You see, right now we are talking, right? So I am sitting in Pennsylvania, then Vasudevan Prabhu is sitting in Chennai, then Andrea Mataji is sitting in Delhi. And who else I know? Harshita is sitting in Mumbai. I think Sapna is sitting somewhere in South India. Khushbu is sitting somewhere in Gujarat. Rupa Mataji is sitting somewhere in South India. Right? We are all sitting, but how are we connected? We are connected by our sound, by sound vibration, right? We are connected by this sound. Are we not connected? Don't we talk?
Yes,
Like if I
Mataji.
talk,
Yes,
connected by
Mataji.
this sound
Yes,
vibration.
Mataji.
So even though we are so scattered across the globe, we still feel connected by the sound vibration. Then that's what Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is about. Even though Krishna is sitting in Goloka Vrindavan, this is a phone call to Krishna. I can call Krishna and talk to him. This is his language. See, if you want to talk to someone, you need to know their language. This is the language that Krishna wants us to talk. So we must do this phone call every day. We are spending so much time in many other things. Just curb, just quieten down, quieten and take care of yourself, the real self that you are as a part and parcel of Krishna. And you will not be defeated. I was hearing one, I don't know if I should say when we are live, but I'll say one podcast by Jay Shetty and Deepak Chopra. I think 2 days ago I was hearing. I couldn't hear the whole thing because his Mayavad Bhasha started, but he said that they did a research and mantra meditation that we actually say that a lot of our diseases are genetic, right? We say that, okay, high cholesterol, heart disease, or obesity, or a lot of high blood pressure, diabetes, we say these are genetic, right? There's genetic. He said he's a pioneer of integrative medicine, like mind-body connection in the medicine. He said he has done innumerable research across the big universities across the country. Sorry, like Harvard in Boston, or Mount Sinai in New York, or Columbia. So many other big places that they did the research. Then how many of these are actually genetic, and how many of these are actually dependent on the expression of the lethal genes because of the way we live. So we can actually express in our body the way we want to live. If I am not at peace in my mind, then my body will express those genes. That's what his research proved. That will cause detrimental diseases in my body, including some of the cancers. Okay, so he said we came to the conclusion 5% of these diseases are genetic. 5% genetic expression is there, but 95% is dependent on the hand of my hand, the way I live. So he said mantra meditation we did for 1 week. They didn't do Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or whatever, but they did the mantra meditation challenge for 1 week. They started, they did the genomic banking. We can do that. We can take like a swab from the mouth of a person. We can take a sample like a saliva, and we can make the whole body genome bank and say that what are the expressions of whatever genes, 2 million genes, whatever are known to us, not 100% are known. Okay, and then he said we keep the sample in the beginning of the mantra meditation workshop, and in 1 week they do mantra meditation workshop. Okay, and then after 1 week we do the sample again, and then we compare what was before and what is after. And what they found out that after doing mantra meditation for just 1 week, they were 17 times more expression of the genes that were associated with a healthy lifestyle. 17 times just in 1 week. We changed our genomic banking. See, the mind is dependent on what we do with our intelligence, and Krishna consciousness is at the soul level. So don't take it as just like a time pass or because an old age or a retreat. This is a way of life. We change. Krishna consciousness changes the problems that were going to come to my life because of Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting. Don't compromise. You may have to compromise in some other things in your life. You may have to compromise. You have to see what you have to compromise. Like now, Nishra Prabhu showed me the mirror. I had to compromise 19 years ago on my habit of watching TV to chant Hare Krishna. So I had time to watch TV 1 hour or 2 hours a day, but I did not have time to chant Hare Krishna. So he showed me the mirror like that. You have to sit with a devotee who knows you, that what is it that's causing a blocker? Where is your time going? Compromise that time to bring yourself into a healthy platform. How many of you want to be healthy? Raise your hand. How many of you really want to lead a healthy life? Raise your hand.
All of us.
Well, let's see. we never say, we never assume. So raise your hand. I will also raise my hand. So how many of you really want to be healthy? Some of the people are not raising hand. You can raise your hand in the camera if Zoom is a problem. But how many of you really want to be healthy in your life? So, and how many of you want to be healthy in a non-toxic manner without any side effects, not dependent on medications? Yes, how many? So how many of you want to not have any disturbances in the mind? How many of you?
Yes.
You see, no disturbance in the mind, just peaceful mind.
Peaceful,
I want to
yes.
focus, right? Then the answer is only one: Krishna consciousness. Okay, there is no other answer, because that is a non-toxic way of get rid of toxicities from our body. Even at the level of gene, I was actually impressed by the way they work. I was thinking we should also do this research in Krishna consciousness and figure out and bring this kind of evidences in front of the people. I know one devotee in Florida who has done the research that how Hare Krishna Mahamantra actually reduces the effect of Rajaguna and Tamaguna and enhances Sataguna, and actually it helps us get rid of the mental disorders like anxiety and depression. Because anxiety, depression, or all these diseases are actually the products of Rajaguna, Tamaguna. Mode of passion, mode of ignorance give rise to these diseases. So he actually works at the foundational level of the disease, not just giving medication and just suppressing the person. It actually cures from the root. So please don't take it lightly. Please take this healthy way of life and please be peaceful. That is the only agenda. I have no hidden agenda. Srila Prabhupada has no hidden agenda. Srila Prabhupada, there is no hidden thing. There is no hidden cost. Okay, so this is what 5th chapter is about. So please read this chapter, at least 2 verses a day. Please chant Hare Krishna. Please catch up to 16 rounds, because that is a prescription to have a toxicity removed from our system. Please see where we all know there is somewhere where time is going. Please see where am I, where can I fit in? I know. Yesterday I spent like about 10 hours making the slides for the advanced class, because whole week I couldn't sit down to do it. So yesterday I had to, from 10:30 in the morning till like I think 7 p.m. I was making the slides and material and everything, and I had no connection with my phone for those hours, and I was so peaceful. Oh my God, this is so nice. No connection with the phone. Somewhere I kept the phone on vibrator, some corner of the house. So please, like, this is my, oh my God. So there, this is where I was compromising, that too many phone calls or too many messages or this or that. So please see, okay? So this ends our 5th chapter. And you can lower your hands. Thank you very much for your collaboration and insights and sharing. So we can take some questions. Next week, let's go back to our assignment. I have received so nice emails from so many of you. Next week, we'll give time and stage to devotees to present their assignments. So I will be sharing a Google form because I want to strategize it. Just write the name of your team and how many people are going to be presenting and how many minutes are you going to take. So then I will allot which team will speak first, depending on the time you are asking for. Okay, so I'll share the Google form, fill it up, and next week before we start 6th chapter, we will do the assignment presentation about what was the topic? Oh my God, I only forgot. What was the topic? Anybody remembers? I read the emails.
Blockers and antidotes.
Blockers in Krishna consciousness.
Very nice. Yes, practical application. Yes, blockers in Krishna consciousness. Yes, okay, so we'll do that. So, anybody has any questions? And also from August, we are going to start another batch of advanced classes. I will share the application form with all of you. Kindly fill it. Kindly come. Kindly take advantage and become peaceful. Only 2 classes on weekends. Whole week you are free. Only 2 classes, 1.5 hours you can spare. And this batch is so nice. So the batch, because you guys are already connected and integrated nitty-gritty wise with each other in some team form or other, right? So you can do assignments in your team meetings. You could want, I'm not encouraging it, but if there are 10 questions, then you can divide 2 to each of your team members, finish it off. But please come please, because there's going to be like discussion on Bhagavad Gita, nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction, Isa Upanishad. Why are you missing the chance? What's the blocker there? Okay. Okay, so some questions we can take up. So yes, Khushbu.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, actually, I don't have a doubt from the lesson, from the text, but I have a request. Mataji, actually, all the classes are on the weekend. So is there anything can be done for the week? I mean, within the week in the evening time, because it's much needed, actually.
So if you can join my team and be one of the teachers, then yes. Yes. We can,
Mataji,
what would you like to do on the weekdays or every day of the week? What would you like to do?
Actually, like I'm quite used to having classes with you of Isa Upanishad across the week, and then this one Bhagavad Gita across the weekend. But now weekdays there is nothing. So though I'm doing my assignments and all, but always that thing is there. Something should be there on a week, within the week. It's just kind of a boost.
Yeah, I agree. So, there is a Srimad Bhagavatam class every morning. You know that, right?
Yes, Mataji. But I'm not able to attend due to the school work and all. In the morning, I have to finish up all the housework so that I can.
So maybe. Okay, let me talk to my core members, Rupa Mataji, Anya Mataji, Sapna, Harshita. You can also join me. Why are you being a part of the audience? Why are you not coming on the backstage? So you can also come, and then we can do those half-an-hour programs every day that we were doing with the help of others. You see, alone I can't do it. I really can't do alone. It's I can't do every single class. But with the association, it is possible. So if any one of you would like to cooperate to make this request materialize, then you email me and we can do it. You guys have been with me for so long now, right? At least the last batch was in December, right? The last, right or wrong? I don't remember.
October, Mataji.
October. October. Okay, so already 10 months have passed. So 10 months is good enough association to know each other. So so you can also come and contribute, and we can make it happen. Does everyone want it on something on the weekdays for like half an hour or something? Yes.
Yes,
Yes, Mataji.
be more comfortable, Mataji.
Yeah,
Mataji. Half an hour is
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Half an hour.
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Doable.
Mataji, if this group only can be shifted on middle of the week is also fine. Like Madhav was like how we had earlier Govindas in middle of the week you were taking. Because anyway, advanced classes are
Mataji,
going
how
on the
can we
weekends.
help you?
Yeah, Dr. Rao is talking about a game-changing question. How can we help you? You see,
How,
then
you
you
asked
can
me so
help
many
me.
times, help, how to help? We are not
In
so
that,
proficient like you, na, to help you
I am
in the
not
teaching
proficient.
program. You are
So,
proficient than us, na.
so
We are listening from you.
no, we learn from each other. Thank you for appreciation. But you see, I just have a little bit of, you see, Vasudevan Prabhu is a great singer. So we can allot him one day that Vasudevan Prabhu, can you please sing your bhajan? He will say yes, yes. So then he will sing that. Okay. And then some other time, Andrea Mataji will tell a story. She's an amazing storyteller. Okay, and then Neha is an amazing writer. If you don't know, her article about Krishna consciousness actually got published in a magazine. So maybe she can
Oh,
share
very
that.
good.
So,
Congrats.
so she's an amazing writer. Now Harshita is a very nice class giver. So we have so much talent. Shobhavali Mataji is the best person to sing Brahma Samhita. So we have so much talent in this class. So why don't we all come together and do it for each other, nurturing and caring? So I guess it's possible. So thank you, Khushbu, for bringing it
Yes,
up.
it's possible.
And Sita can't live without teaching. Sita loves to teach. So so
Yeah, she is good.
she can get maybe once a month 20-minute time to teach. Then she will feel okay, fulfilled. Dr. Rao, you also like to be a part of the team, so you can organize something with your team. Okay, we have to do this. So I will share the Google form to have you guys submit your time slot and what is the name of your team to present next week. We will meet. We can meet either Saturday or Sunday next week. What time is good for all of you? I mean, what day? It is, or if we meet Saturday.
This time is
we
good,
can-
Mataji.
Saturday is
can
good,
do-
Mataji.
Yeah.
3 o'clock. 3 o'clock Saturday.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Next week is next Saturday. Oh, Sunday is Shraddhavan. Yeah, we should meet Saturday only. Okay, but come with the preparation of about 1.5 hour class because there's going to be a presentation and generally it goes a little bit further than the allocated time. So 3 o'clock Saturday next week. Any questions? No questions. Whole chapter, no questions. Then I will ask questions. Please raise your hand and tell me who are the 3 doers. Who are the 3 doers explained in this chapter? Am I audible? 3 doers. Who are the 3 doers? So Bidisha Mataji is attending the advanced classes. So she will get the last chance. Somebody who's not attending the advanced class, please raise your hand. Mataji, you can keep your hand raised. I'm thankful to you. Who are the 3 doers? Yes, Ramasheshu Mataji. The admins can also unmute and answer. Okay, don't just
Hare
be a
Krishna
admin.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
The Supreme Spirit is the doer. Then the
Okay.
soul is the doer. And the material modes of nature are the doers.
Okay, thank you. Now, thank you. That's a correct answer. Jiva, Prakriti, and Ishvara are the doers. Now, the next question of the same part. Don't lower your hands. What is the contribution of each of them in doing an activity? What is the contribution of a Jiva? What is the contribution of a Prakriti? And what is the contribution of a Supreme Personality of Godhead in conducting an activity? Yes, no, maybe, so. Yes. Dr. Rao, I know you're attending class, but I would still like to hear you.
I'll tell. Jiva desires.
What, Prabhu?
Material modes do. Jiva desire.
Ah, very nice.
Jiva desires.
Okay.
Material mode does the work. Right? The Lord, the Supreme, the SPOG will sanction the desire.
Very nice.
If it is eligible.
Very nice. Very nice.
This is
Thank
what
you.
today's class morning's essence. I just want to test
Thank-
myself. Thank you.
Very nice. Yes, Bidisha Mataji, yes. Crack the exam. What is the contribution of each of the doer? Mataji, you're
Krishna,
muted.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, the Jiva desires and the super soul, he verifies and sanctions depending on the desire, whether the Jiva deserves the desire should be fulfilled or not. Then he, after receiving, then the Prakriti, after receiving this super soul's order, then he facilitates to for the desire to be fulfilled. He's a facilitator.
Thank you. Yes, Jyoti Lakshmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
The Jiva desires and the Prakriti conveys the desire to the Ishvara. Ishvara decides whether the Jiva is eligible.
No. Thodi galti ho gayi, Mataji. The Jiva desires, but the super soul sitting in the heart is aware of the desire. And the super soul in the heart sanctions that desire and tells the material modes of nature to bring forth the objects.
Yeah.
You said Prakriti understands, but Prakriti doesn't understand. Prakriti is serving Krishna's order.
Yeah. Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the role of the soul. This is given in 5th chapter, verse number 13 to 16. That is why I tell you, come to the advanced class. Role of the soul is initiator. Role of material nature is facilitator. Role of the Lord is sanctioner. So what is it? Let's see this from here. Jiva, the soul desires to have material enjoyment. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Paramatma in the heart verifies and sanctions based on does this Jiva deserve to get this desire fulfilled or not. And once he sanctions this desire to be fulfilled, then he sends a signal to material nature. And after receiving super soul's order, material nature through 3 modes, Sattva, Raja, Tama, fulfills the Jiva's desire. Okay, so this is the cycle of how our desires are getting fulfilled. Okay, one more question. What is the analogy of Padma Patram Ivam Bhasha? The lotus flower, the lotus leaf is untouched. What is that analogy? The 10th verse. Who can explain that to me? What is it? What is Krishna talking it in reference to? Giving an analogy of a lotus leaf remains untouched by the water that it stays in. You can raise your hands. Nobody expected a surprise test. Yes, Simi Mataji. Simi Mataji.
Irrespective of the surrounding or if it's clean or unclean, the lotus feet is pure and untouched by, and it is devoid of all the surrounding feelings. It is not getting affected by the surrounding, so it remains pure.
So what is it so what's the analogy? Why is Krishna giving that example here?
So you have to look inside you, and you have to purify yourself and not look at the surroundings. So you have to be pure yourself, and you have to work on yourself and not get affected by the surrounding or attached or detached or whatever.
Okay, thank you very much. Vasudevan Prabhu.
Yeah, it's this analogy is very interesting. If you see a lotus in the pond, you will see the lotus flower as well as the leaf. They are above the water surface, and even in the water surface, the leaf is not touched by the water particle. So the analogy here is the self-searching of the soul. If it ends in the understanding that you are not the body and you are the soul, The soul searching ends there. That means the attachment to the material life is not there. And once that stage is attained, that is the stage where you live apart from the material desires that are surrounding you. In other words, you are untouched by that, like the lotus leaf.
Thank you, Prabhu. So you're talking about Brahma Nirvan. Thank you. Sakshi Mataji, Hare Krishna. Sakshi Mataji. Can't hear you. Okay, Sita.
And I'm sorry if my voice breaks. I'm driving. So I think the reference was just like as Prabhu had said, a lotus flower living in a pond with a dirty water, irrespective of it, remains what it is, a flower. So if the water touches it, it falls off. It does not get affected by the environment it is in. And I believe the reference is a self-realized individual who understands that he's not the body and the soul. Irrespective of which environment they're living in, they can still live in the material world, but they do not get affected by all the modes of nature.
Very nice. Thank you. Anvaya Mataji, what did you want to say? You're muted, Anvaya Mataji.
Mataji, if you're chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and following all that Srila Prabhupada has told you, then the material modes will not act on you. Just like the lotus flower, the leaves, the water just falls off, of the leaf. So in a similar way, in whichever situation you may be, the modes, they just don't act on you. You remain in the Shuddha Sattva, where you're always connected to Krishna.
Thank you very much. Yes, Sakshi Mataji. Mataji, your voice is still not coming. I think there's some problem. Sakshi Mataji, I can't hear you. Can anyone hear her? Can anyone hear Sakshi Mataji?
No, Mataji, we are unable to hear Mataji.
Mataji, I think there's some audio problem. So this is the verse: one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results onto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So we don't get affected by the sinful action of our work because we give the results to Krishna. So he is the one who is going to be affected, not me. Okay, so Padma Patram Ivam Bhasha. All right. Any questions, or we can close the class then?